Oleksandr Usyk against Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois. Um, yeah, so let's have an open chat today. See what you guys think about it. Hopefully, hopefully some of you pull up, and I'll give it a couple of minutes and see what happens. But other than that, I'm keen to close this chapter of this controversial fight, heavyweight fight, unification. Right? There's a lot of mixed feelings to this one in terms of, was it a legal shot? Was it wrong? Was the right decision made? There's a lot of different scenarios here. A lot of people have mixed feelings of the actual result. Some people thought that Usyk should have lost because of the punch that was thrown to the midsection. So I just want everyone's opinion on it. I'm keen to close this chapter, move on. I've seen a lot of people have an opinion on it, talk on it, and yeah, I'm basically saying, what's your take? Leave your comment on it. What do you think of it? Was it the wrong call? Because it was a big punch. Let's not forget that it was a big punch that Daniel landed. What's going on, Iceman? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Appreciate it. Iceman is saying it looked legit. This is it. I want to get everyone's opinions on this scenario. I want to put it to bed and close the chapter. I'm sick of seeing everyone else say this, that, and the other. So for my own peace of mind and everyone else, I want to just put it to bed. Usyk was knocked down, no doubt, no blow. So that's two opinions there. Appreciate you guys stepping in. What's going on, Warm Strong? Odom's look legit to me. What's going on, Odom? I'll turn you blue later on, man. I appreciate you stepping in. Yeah, so basically that's what I want to talk on, this whole situation that we had with this heavyweight fight. It was a really controversial decision and a tough call from the ref, because Usyk was so dominant in the fight. Daniel basically, he had a chance. He had a chance. He really did land that punch. He really did land that punch. I talked on it. I said he needs to slow him down. Usyk is a better boxer. No need for a rematch. Triple D quit. He did quit. He also did quit. And Daniel's got pacing problems. I knew that this wouldn't last the fight, and it was a very sad thing to say. Sad thing to see, because this is for the heavyweight championship of the world on unification, and for Daniel to quit, like Iceman says, it's. What more motivation do you need than fighting for the title? You know what I mean? For him to quit and say, hey, I got robbed, that's also a. No, was it a robbery? Do you guys think it was a robbery? I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure if it was a robbery, because, at the end of the day, I'll agree with you all, it did look legit. It did look legit. And also, you also got to consider that Usyk, he's been dropped from body shots before. He got dropped from Bitabeev. That's why I was saying hit him to the body, in my breakdown before the fight, because that's going to slow him down. You know what I mean? No, he got beat. Yeah, he definitely got beat up. Odom, he definitely got beat up. That jab, and there was another similar scenario with the Joe Joyce fight. He just couldn't avoid the jab. He had his hand up, and Dubois couldn't. You couldn't take the jab. You can't take a body shot. Yeah, that's Usyk can't take the body shot. Anthony Joshua also got him in round 9. I was saying that He got him in round 9 and Usyk's pain in his corner. Watch the film back, his pain in his corner because I believe that body shot took the wind out of him. You know what I mean? And that's the way to go with Usyk. What's going on, Al Dub? Thanks for tuning in. Salute to you. Um, we don't know what to happen if Usyk didn't get up at all. We don't know what to happen if Usyk didn't get up all the time to recoup. I mean, he definitely had a long time to recover, from that shot. I do agree with Iceman in terms of, I don't want to really see a rematch because it was a puncher's chance. But the thing with Dubois is that, he had his moment. He got him, what you guys are saying, a legal shot. I agree with that. It was partially low, but in terms of boxing, it was legitimately on the bout line. It was a legal knockdown. But the referee, he didn't count as well. That was also a scenario there. There was no count. You know what I mean? So the ref gave Usyk 5 hours to recover. And I mean, Usyk was saying, I'm good to go. I really disagree with the ref's call there, Iceman. I thought it was a very bad call from him. I mean, Usyk said, I'm good to go. And he said, take your time. It seemed like he was in his favour. Then he also talks to Dubois, delays it a bit more, says, hey, watch where you're punching. But, I mean, like you guys all say, that was a legit punch. But, I mean, Dubois had his moment. He got him with the money shot. Like I said, if he gets him with the money shot and slows him down, he has to go for it. He has to go for it. But the thing is that he just couldn't. He couldn't go for it. He was too predictable. And he only had 2 rounds to do it in. He only had that round 5 and that round 6. After that, it's Usyk's fight. Like I say, after 6 rounds, Dubois, he can't pace himself. He can't pace himself. He gave up, like Iceman says. You know what I mean? So, where was the unpredictable punches from Dubois then? He had his chance. I know that Usyk had a long time to recover. But at the end of the day, you've got to throw more than the right uppercut to the body. I was expecting him to at least throw a left. I never really saw any left hands thrown from Dubois. He couldn't establish his jab. I was thinking maybe he'll, try to throw a couple of hooks to the body. He couldn't do that too. There was no certainty with him in terms of him getting him out of there, even though he did hurt him. You know what I mean? He shut down here for sure. I mean, Usyk definitely shut down. Dubois had his chance. It was still early in the round. In that round 5, he still had time to get him out of there. And I mean, you can't expect to land big power punches to the body against a guy like Usyk. You just can't. Being predictable against a guy that can move to his left, his right, he can move backwards. He can move. He's got the best legs in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. I might be wrong. That's just me saying that. So, I mean, you can't really allow him to just move away from you once he is throwing, predictable punches. That right hand he was loading up was only with the right hand. He wasn't loading up with the left. He wasn't going to the body with the left, And also, like I say, that jab from Usyk was just too predictable for him. Was just landing too many times. The power jab, which ended the fight as well. So I mean, there's a lot to consider here, in terms of the robbery. I mean, I don't really think it was a robbery. What do you guys think on that? Do you think it was a robbery? I don't think it was a robbery. I just think it was a possible knockdown, a possible knockdown which looked legit, and if Usyk had gotten up, do you think he could have recovered? See, it wasn't a robbery, Iceman is saying. Do you think that Usyk could have recovered from that if he had gotten up? Because I mean, he was definitely still conscious. It wasn't like it was a headshot, it was a body shot. He looks at the referee and says it's a low blow. So he's definitely there, in terms of his awareness. But do you think if he had gotten up, see, that's another thing. You can't call it a robbery without a count. Do you think he would have been able to survive against a guy that's throwing uppercuts only with his right hand and not throwing with his left? Do you think he would have been able to survive? That's a question as well. Because, I mean, like I say, Dubois had his chance. I don't know. I don't know. He looked hurt. Don't know if he was milking it or not. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Was he? How hurt was he? I mean, his face definitely looked like he was hurt, and but I think he would have got up. I just think that Usyk's a fighting man. I think that he may have been, delaying a bit because he understood that the ref wasn't counting. He was reacting to the referee. Dubois knew that he had him hurt. He was waiting for him to get up, and he was trying to take that away from Dubois. The adrenaline rush. He wanted Dubois to calm down a bit before he continued. His team anyway. His team was saying take your time. The referee was saying, because Usyk's saying I'm ready. He gets up after looking at the ref, after looking around, making sure that no one's counting or anything like that, calling it a knockdown. He's reacting to that. He's not reacting to a count. Had it been a count, I believe he would have got up in pain, but I think he would have got up. It definitely did look like he was on the ground for too long, especially because even if it was a bit low, it was partially low. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was a full effective shot straight to the groin section. It was partially, if it was low at all. And I do believe that Usyk did stall a little bit, and his team was talking to him saying, take your time, take your time. And I mean, Dubois had no execution plan after that. That was what disappointing. Because I thought when he did get up, I thought that he did have a chance to actually, close the show. I thought this is his chance right here. This is his chance right here. And then when I saw what he was throwing, I was thinking, what are you doing? He had a chance right there. He needed to be unpredictable at that point of the fight. He definitely needed to, throw everything at Usyk and just get the referee to stop it at that stage of the fight. Try to knock him out. By then Usyk would have been slow. We all know when we do get hit, in the groin area, we slow down a bit with our legs. Isn't that right? So I mean, that was his chance. The left hooks to the body would have been perfect because Usyk kept circling to his, avoiding his right side because it was so predictable. If he had thrown an unpredictable shot at that time of the fight, who knows what would have happened. Usyk would have got up, no robbery. Yeah, I agree. He would have got up. Would he have survived? I think that he may have survived just because of the points that I'm saying. Dubois is just throwing right-handed body shots. He's not even using his left. He can't establish his jab. So I mean, his initiation of his attack is basically dig to the body with the right uppercut. And he was successful with that punch, it was working at a point. So, I mean, definitely no robbery, and like Iceman says, he gave up, he took a knee, he took too many knees, and it wasn't like he had a messed up eye, it wasn't like the Joe Joyce fight where you understood why he didn't get back up. You thought, what, he's got a broken eye socket, he can't continue. No, in this case he was fully aware, fighting for the unification heavyweight championship of the world, and he couldn't get up from a jab. I mean, as harsh as it sounds, I mean, this is for the big bout. This is for a once in a lifetime opportunity. At the age of 25, when you're still young, you would think that he would just go for it. He would just go for it. And I mean, his corner was saying, when Usyk was on the ground, keep going to the body. But I mean, there was no execution plan. I know the right hand was working, but Usyk's a mover. You've got to use that left. You've got to use that left. You've got to get him circling to your strong side. And I believe he would have got the result if he had a good execution plan, even with the long delay. You know what I mean? What's going on, Bruce Gas? Go check out Bruce Gas. Great channel. I just want to put this scenario to bed, Bruce. First of all, do you think it was a legit shot? That's a question for you to answer. Hopefully you do. But thank you for tuning in anyway. Because, I want to just move on with it. I see a lot of mixed thoughts. This whole chat right here saying that we all agree it wasn't a robbery, but we are saying that it's possibly a legit shot. Definitely looked that way, but the fact that Dubois quit, that's another factor to put in mind. So, there's a lot of mixed feelings. One of the greatest boxers of our era, undisputed former cruiserweight champion, beating Anthony Joshua twice in a row. He had the perfect opportunity to just go for it. And he couldn't. The execution just wasn't there. The left hand. Where was the left hand? I apologize for the lag. I could see that Iceman. Thanks for the heads up. Where was the left hand in the whole fight? I don't even see the left hand going to the body. Do you know what I mean? If you can't beat him by the jab, if you can't use the left hand to cover up his face, he's in trouble from the start. He's in trouble from the start. You know what I mean? So I reckon let it go. Hopefully there is no rematch. I'm hearing that a lot of people are saying anyway there should be a rematch or no contest, but it was no contest. Besides the knockdown, there was really no contest. Usyk was just far more superior. And no offense to Dubois, I know that he can punch, but his heart wasn't there to win the title. You know what I mean? When you prepare for like a long distance marathon or whatever, you're gonna go until you can't breathe. You're gonna go until you can't move, And this was that situation. He was fighting for the unification title, and he just let it, he let it go. He let it go. Then he says, "Hey, it's a robbery." But you can't call it a robbery if there's no count. So I'm glad that we got that out of the way. Nobody wants to see a rematch. There's not enough evidence to turn it into a no contest for sure. That's the thing. There was no count. If there had been a count, it may have been different. But there was no count. You can't call it a no contest without a count. As well as the fact that he was throwing the uppercut at close range. He was throwing the uppercut, which is an upward shot. He was, heavily losing the fight. His heart wasn't there to win the fight. I just don't think that's enough. Had it been a competitive fight, had it been a fight where Dubois still landing big, if it was an even fight, maybe you could have called it that, you know what I mean? But the fact that Usyk was so dominant and he was so won so many rounds over Dubois, he was so dominant with that jab. It was just like, what's the point? What's the point of a rematch? You know what I mean? Did Usyk's trunk look high? I wasn't really looking at that. I was just looking at the shot. Iceman, when I first saw it, at speed when they first played it, I thought that's a low blow. And then when they played the replay, I thought, wow, that's actually a knockout. That's what I actually thought at first. But then when I watched it at slow motion, and like Bruce says, the different angles, it does look like it is partially low, but at the same time, that's a legitimate shot. It's a legitimate shot. And like I say, Usyk's been hurt to the body before, so I don't think that was the reason why. The trunk situation was a factor. If it was a low blow, I think it may have just been a hard shot to the body. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, he's been dropped from Beterbiev, he's been in trouble from Joshua, and now he's been in trouble from Dubois and from body shots. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that we can put put this away and finally, because I wanted to get the public's point of view on it. So I'm glad that we all agree that there shouldn't be a rematch, that it wasn't a robbery. And I mean, the performance from Dubois was shocking, in my opinion. I mean, just the heart to not want to fight for the title from the jab. I was very disappointed in his heart in the fight. Very disappointed in Dubois, a 25-year-old heavyweight. You know what I mean? There is another fight this week. So we got Eubank against Smith. I'm glad that we finally put that to bed. Don't really want to talk about it anymore, to be honest. Usyk was that dominant. Fought like the champion, won by knockout as expected. And I just think Dubois is not a top level heavyweight. He doesn't have that heart, that burning desire to fight on, especially for the title. So Eubank against Smith, that's another interesting one. That's a very interesting one in my opinion. I thought that the first fight was interesting. I thought Eubank was winning, to be fair. And Smith got him good. Smith got him good with that right hand. Ended the fight with the uppercut. Was a good finish from Smith. It's definitely an interesting fight for sure. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm sure that what's going on, Lisa J. Stocks, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to have, Eubank as the underdog. But I mean, I think that this one is definitely going to be a competitive one. I just think that Eubank wasn't prepared the first time. I think this time he's going to be more prepared with his diet, with what he's eating, with his weight, with his training. Last time he was turning into a clown show, saying, I'm eating KFC, I'm not training hard for this fight, just silly things. And in this occasion, I think that he's definitely going to be prepared, and I mean, I think that he's the more superior boxer. Try not to fight like Roy, that's, without a doubt. And that's his problem, in the corner. I mean, when guys like Canelo's in the corner, you notice he's always tucking his head in, using his shoulders, things like that. In this case, Eubank was circling around with his head in the air, and I mean, it's just a matter of timing a perfect shot. And especially if you got nowhere to move. Excuse me, apologize for that. Especially if you got nowhere to move, you're in the corner, you got nowhere to move, you got your head in the air. You just got to time the shot right, and that's what Smith done. I mean, Eubank was winning, in my opinion, until the knockout. And it was a devastating knockout as well, I mean, Eubank's legs were gone. They were gone. A guy that depends heavily on his legs, his legs wasn't there for him. There was no recovering after that shot. I believe it was the left uppercut. That's what I'm saying. The shots that Smith was throwing were different shots. It was a timed shot, but it was a shot that Eubank wasn't expecting. It wasn't a right hand that first caught him. It was a left uppercut. You know, that's something that Dubois should have done. You know, he should have threw something different. You know, your execution plan is very important. It's normally the shots that you don't see are the ones that's going to get you. And because he doesn't have his head sucked in, you know, he's deep inside on his territory and corner of the ropes. Definitely was. I mean, Iceman, you know, that was a. He didn't know where to go, you know. He got up and his body language said it on its own. Said it on its own, you know. It was just like the fight's over. I was like, you know, it was that heavy of a punch. And it was the punch that he never saw coming. It was a left uppercut, you know, landed flush, picture perfect punch, and he paid the consequences. And now he's running it back, you know, second time. This time I think he's going to be more prepared. He's got to stay away from those ropes. He has to learn how to be more defensively, and you know when he's doing that, when he's against the ropes, you know, it can't just bounce out and circle around at times. If someone comes off with a good shot, that's it. So I mean, I like the fight. You know, I think it's a good fight. Do I think he's making a mistake going for the rematch? Absolutely not. What's going on, CFM? Thanks for tuning in. We just put that to bed, you know, no robbery and on the Dubois versus Usyk talk. We all came to agreement, no robbery. It was just let it go. Usyk was the more superior fighter. That's put to bed. So we're just talking about Eubank against Liam Smith. Perfectly timed shot. You know, I don't think that this time around, I don't think that Eubank is going to be that vulnerable in the corner. You know, he now needs to understand that Smith is a guy that can throw all shots and he's got a good execution plan. Let's not forget he's also fought Canelo. He's fought a guy that has more power than Eubank. So, I mean, I don't think he's intimidated from Eubank's power at all. You know, if anything, he's going to come in here with more confidence. He's already put him on the canvas. You know, Eubank's going to need to know that he can't trade with this guy at short range. I don't know who wins, but it'll be a good fight. 100%, you know, I mean, it's going to be a great fight, especially because, you know, it is a rematch. And, you know, the first time it was a short fight, but the reason why I'm saying it's going to be a great fight at a rematch because Eubank's a better mover than Smith. He's a better boxer than Smith, in my opinion. So I think this time, you know, put the clown show aside of eating KFC. Skills wins the fights, you know what I mean? The better boxer, the guy that's more skillful, he wins. As long as he doesn't get caught. Smith, I mean, that knockout may have affected Eubank. You know, he may be a bit more hesitant. And if Smith is right again, he may catch him again. But I'm just saying, I know for sure that this fight will go a bit longer. I just think it's not going to be as fast as the first fight, you know, in my opinion. Do grab a coffee, you know, we're halfway through the live. Grab a coffee, grab a drink. I've got a coffee on me now. Appreciate everyone that's still, you know, listening in, tuning in. Always appreciate your guys' feedback in terms of, you know, the fights. It's good to just pop on here and talk boxing, you know. Appreciate your guys' time as always. But I mean, the unpredictable punch always lands against the boxer that puts them to bed. The guy that's skillful, the guy that has everything going for himself in terms of style-wise, you know, the guy that's going to try to knock him out needs to always think about the execution plan of trying to land something unpredictable. we saw the Wilder versus Fury trilogy where Fury gets knocked down, he gets up, and then Wilder lands a short right hand. Something unpredictable. Fury's a guy that, he regathers himself fast with his legs. And the fact that Wilder put him down again with the unpredictable, short right hand possibly could have caused them a great result, So, you always got to be unpredictable. Um, the difference is that Eubank just couldn't find his legs, like Fury could. Eubank's legs were all over the place from that unpredictable uppercut that landed. While Eubank had his chin in the air, circling around, waiting to get a time shot landed to him, that definitely landed. So Eubank coming forward needs to tuck his head in. He needs to really focus on not being too vulnerable in the corner. He now knows that Smith can put him out if he wants to. If he does time something perfectly, he can put him out. So he needs to be careful. And the way to do that is to stay away from the ropes. Stay away from the ropes. Maybe watch back film of where he went wrong in terms of what he was doing when he was in the ropes in the corner, and try to find a way to circle out of that position. Eubank, I think, has a great chance in this fight. I did choose him to win the first time. This time I think that he will get the dub. In my opinion, I just think that, like I say, the guy that has better skills. And Smith is a guy that can take a punch. So I think that Eubank's going to have to win on points. You see, Eubank was trying to hurt Smith in the first fight. This time he needs to outbox him. So that's my take on that fight anyway. Let me know your guys' one. What do you think on it? Who do you think wins that one? I don't know who wins, but it'll be a close fight. For sure. It's definitely one I'm looking forward to. And may the best man win. I think they should definitely both stay at 160. I don't think them moving up is a good idea. I just think Canelo's, something else in terms of power. If Eubank can't take a shot from Smith, what will Canelo do? A guy that can punch hard. I think that their lane is to stay at 160, and let them duke it out there and see what happens. But that's that anyway. In terms of heavyweights, we have Herkovic now, in line for a title shot against Usyk. I don't think it's going to get overruled. I think that it's going to stay as is, and I'm glad that it didn't go the other way. I'm glad that Dubois didn't win that fight, because like we all saw, Usyk was the more superior. So we're going to move forward from that. I believe Herkovic's next in line to fight Usyk. And Usyk did say, if I lose, I'm going to retire. You know what I mean? So I still want to see Usyk against Fury. I still want to see that fight. We have to see that one. We can't have a guy like Dubois, pulling off a miracle punch and winning the fight. and then we don't see Fury versus Usyk because Usyk's a man of his word. If he says that if he does lose, he's gonna retire. And I believe that he really means that. I mean, he's approaching 37 now. Um, I'll go Eubank, but now he's been stopped. He could be even more vulnerable. Yeah, that's the thing. He needs to know that he has to move. He needs to know that he has to move in that fight for sure. He can't just stay by the ropes. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to be a great fight for the heavyweights. We still have speculation of who's fighting who. There's a lot of rumors of Wilder versus AJ. There's a lot of rumors of Fury against Usyk in January. But to be perfectly honest, anything with Fury, I'm not listening to. The guys let us down so many times that I'm not really interested, in what they have to say of him fighting who. Until it's signed. He's told us about a Joshua fight. He's told us about a Usyk fight. He's told us this, that, and the other, and it's never turned out to be, to be the right thing that he's saying. So I mean, I think that Eubank it'll be a good fight for him. I think that with Usyk, he's most likely going to fight Herkovic next. Herkovic saying that, that he isn't going to step aside. He wants to fight Usyk next. We all know that Fury is fighting Ngannou, an MMA guy. So I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, in terms of the next couple of fights coming up. Eubank against Smith, Canelo against Charlo. A couple of fights, to look forward to. I think the Charlo versus Canelo fight's going to be a knockout, in my opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. In terms of what's going to happen with Usyk, I think that he's not going to get overruled. I think that he will fight Herkovic next, and it needs to be soon. If he wants to get a fight with Fury, it needs to be soon, because I believe that's the fight that he needs to get out of the way. It's mandatory, so he needs to be as busy as he can. Usyk approaching 37. I believe, I may be wrong, he needs to stay busy, stay active. But yeah, I mean, that's all that aside. Usyk's the winner, more superior fighter, more superior boxer, and he got the job done. I think the Fury and Ngannou fight's a waste of time. I don't believe in the hype at all. If anything, Ngannou is going to get knocked out early. I don't think it's going to even last that long unless Fury wants it to. But that's all I've really got to say. I mean, Usyk against Herkovic next. Eubank against Smith. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Dubois. But other than that, thank you all for tuning in today. Once again, I apologize for the lag if I was lagging. But it's always great to talk boxing. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you all next time. I see someone else just popped in. Hope to catch you guys all next time. Talk more boxing, but other than that, we got the final verdict. Usyk's the winner. No rematch needed. Take care all. Have a great day. Catch you next time. Peace.